Hello guys and welcome to my top 10 adventure anime list. Now, I know I've missed a bunch of anime out here, especially the mainstream ones, but here's the point, I try not to make my list really mainstream. I like to have anime that isn't really talked about anymore. There is still a few mainstream ones in here that I really enjoy, but that's obviously the ones I really enjoy, and I'm not just putting them in the list because, you know, they're the mainstream ones that everyone knows about. So feel free to comment on this video and tell me what you agreed with, what you disagreed with, and I hope you enjoy, guys. We start things off with Erland Fairy. In the 19th century, we find Lydia Carleton living in Scotland, making a living as a fairy doctor. She is one of those rare humans who can see and communicate with fairies, but no one believes her. However, Edgar is in need for someone with vast knowledge of fairy lore, and Lydia is just that person. After rescuing her, he becomes her employer, but there are many secrets and emotions that seem to follow Edgar, who claims to be the Blue Knight's Earl. This anime is commonly known as a romantic, fantasy, adventure type of anime with a heavy attention to culture and history. These touches are a nice bonus in what effectively is a very well thought out romance anime. With magic being its main influence, you would think that this series would be very forgettable because there's so many anime that use this type of formula. One huge shortcoming for this anime is that its ending really isn't the most satisfying one you will ever see, and it'll probably leave you disappointed. Edgar, our main male protagonist, is very mysterious along with his past. This character really gets you thinking and wondering more about him and why he is how he is. Lydia is not as interesting, but she acts definitely upper class with her kind nature and realistic outlook. These characters really suit the story and the settings well, so the characters are more than worth your time here. If you're looking for an old style romance with fantasy adventure, I'm sure you'll find some value from this. Scrapped Princess. Pacifica is the most feared and hated person by the followers of the god Mauser. Known as the Scrapped Princess, she is the poison that will destroy the world. To avoid being killed by the zealots of Mauser, Pacifica and her adoptive brother and sister leave the village of Manhurin. At every step of the way, however, someone is constantly trying to kill Pacifica, hoping to somehow avert the catastrophe that is supposed to befall the world on her 16th birthday. This anime won't be for everyone, and I say this because it's not exactly jam-packed with action. It takes the turn of a more slow and steady build-up. When the battles do come, they are definitely worth the wait. Although I think it's worth mentioning that this show focuses on actual drama rather than standard affairs of battles and adventure. This one is definitely for an acquired taste. If you enjoy slow stories with building levels of drama, then I don't think you can go wrong with this anime. Give it a try. Next up we have K. Set in a world where history has taken a slightly different course from the one we're familiar with, K follows the story of a young boy whose life is caught in a psychic war between 7 kings. Ashinaka High School is known for its unique settings. The entire campus is built on an island. Yashiro, aka Shiro, is having lunch with a cat on one of the school rooftops. After his lunch break, Shiro goes on an errand for his classmate Kukuri to prepare for their upcoming school festival, only to be chased by some intimidating looking men. K's story is really where it falls flat. Despite these shortcomings, there's still some kind of charm to the show that kept me glued to the screen. The art and animation are really well done. Beautiful art that's a joy to look at from start to finish. Apparently, the studio didn't really have a lot of time to create this anime, so maybe that's the reasons the writers really couldn't create a little more enticing story because of the time restrictions. So maybe that time restraint is why these characters didn't really get involved more or get expanded on more. It's a shame I couldn't put this anime higher on the list because the characters could have been much more relatable if they just had a bit more time put into each one. A good anime nonetheless, and one worth checking out. Number 7. Sword Art Online. In the near future, a virtual reality massive multiplayer online role-playing game called Sword Art Online has been released where players can control their avatars through brainwaves using technology called Nerve Gear. When players enter the game, they discover they cannot log out, as the game creator is holding them captive. To escape, players must beat the game by defeating each boss on all 100 floors. However, if they die in the game, they die in real life too. Their struggle for survival starts now. So we've all seen game-based anime before, and they aren't particularly anything new. Sword Art Online, despite Season 2 falling pretty flat in my opinion, deserves a spot on the list. But with that, I'm going to add that I really do think this anime is highly overrated for a number of reasons. The pacing is certainly off, and too often things feel really rushed, which really did put me off a bit. Then there's the odd character that gets introduced and then left in the dark for the rest of the series and never addressed again. It felt like the writers had a very severe case of writer's block at the beginning and finally found their feet midway point, because that's when this anime really does shine. The idea of being stuck in a game world, unable to get out, will always be appealing, and I can say that they nailed the settings in this anime perfectly. A very well crafted world with a great soundtrack. It's a hit or miss anime, but if you haven't seen it, give it a try. Fantastic Children. A group of white-haired children has been spotted at different times and places in Europe for over 500 years. Always with the appearance of 11-year-olds, they behave way more mature than they should be, never grow old, and seem to have supernatural power. What they have been seeking is a girl, and the only clue they have is a picture with a crescent moon. Now, in the year of 2012, an athletic boy named Toma is about to be involved in this centuries-long mystery. Be prepared to be really engaged and listening when watching this anime. It's very complex and requires you to really pay attention to what's going on in order to grasp where things are going, and that is pretty much common sense with most story-rich anime. What I find really unique about this anime is a group of mysterious kids that keep appearing around the place. You're constantly asking questions about them in your head, and it really keeps you interested and hooked for more. Secrets, twists and surprises are everywhere in this anime, which make it harder to predict. If you like mystery adventure anime, then I can't recommend this enough. In at number 5 we have Chi's Sweet Home. The Yamadas and Chi move to a new apartment house where keeping a pet is allowed. And that's pretty much it for the plot, guys. There is really no plot to this anime whatsoever. Chi's Sweet Home is one of those really feel-good anime that shouldn't be taken seriously at all. It's largely based on Chi and the wacky and weird adventures that Chi comes across. It's a light-hearted adventure and a feel-good type of anime, so don't expect anything much from this anime apart from its natural charm and weird concept. It's worth mentioning that each episode is only 3 minutes long, so this is an anime that's very accessible to people who are very busy and don't have much time. Don't let that put you off though, because there are over 100 episodes to watch, which equates to a decent amount of content. If you're in the mood to relax and you don't really want to think about things much, then Chi's Sweet Home may be the anime for you. Sidonia no Kishi. It's been 1,000 years since the Gorna, a strange alien race with no known method of communication, destroying the solar system. A portion of humanity managed to escape using the enormous siege ships like the Sidonia, which have allowed them to maintain the population while drifting through space. Nagati is a young man who has been raised deep in the bowels of the ship. When he goes into training to pilot the huge robotic weapons known as Gardes, Nagate is entrusted with piloting the legendary unit known as the Tsukugamori. Nagati and his fellow pilots put their lives on the line against the Gorna in the ultimate battle for the survival of humanity. This anime welcomes weird CGI into the mix, and this raised a lot of eyebrows when this was first announced, but after watching a few episodes I can really see why they went for that kind of style, and it really suits the style of the show perfectly. The characters weren't really original, but it's not a huge deal considering they were all still interesting in their own ways. Fans of sci-fi and mecha will most likely find something of value here, but with the blistering action and smooth animation to put the icing on the cake, I can also see people that aren't interested in these genres to find something of value as well. A great little gem. In third place we have Kiaba. It is now possible to store memory data so that the death of your body is not actually death. As memories are stored in data banks, they can be transferred to new bodies. Because so-called memory trading now occurs, it is now possible to steal memories and illegally alter them. Society has fallen apart as authority has become lost and stagnant. One day, a man awakens in a room. His name is Kiaba. He has no memories, but he does have a pendant with a picture of an unknown woman inside. In the skies are clouds and electrical storms, impossible to pass without losing one's memory. Above them lies the elusive realm of the rich and powerful. Below lies a troubled and dangerous world where good bodies are hard to come by and real money is scarce. After suddenly being attacked, Kiaba escapes into space and during his travels meets all sorts of people and regains his memories. Throughout it, he continues to be troubled by the world's problems as well as his own existence. Despite this being an amnesia story, there's tons of originality sparkled into this anime that you really come to appreciate. I won't go into too much of the story to spoil things, but I will say that this anime doesn't play games and it drops you right into the action from the start. From there, you really get to feel a connection with the main character. By doing this, you not only engage the viewer, but you make the viewer want to know more and more about this crazy world. The art style is very Western-like, or at least it looks that way to me. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but the visuals are very nice and out of the ordinary. Once again, heavy sci-fi elements are present, so any sci-fi buffs will likely feel right at home with this. Very unusual and very different. You can't miss this one. In at number 2 we have Outlaw Star. Gene Starwind and his partner Jim Hawkin run a small business on a backwater planet, but all that changes the day that Hilda hires them for a bodyguard job. Now, thrust into a mystery they don't fully understand, they're on the run from the cops, the pirates, an angry alien and a mysterious assassin. But they've got one thing going in their favour, they have the galaxy's most advanced ship, the Outlaw Star. The great thing about this anime is it's really easy to get into for all ages. There's no real complexity behind any of the characters or plot, so it's an anime you can sit down to on a weekend and really know what you're going to get for your time. Despite it being old, it has aged very well and deserves a spot on this list. All of the characters really have a special spark to them, which really sets them apart from each other. This is something a lot of more modern anime series just can't grasp anymore. The story is pretty straightforward, so this would definitely suit newcomers to anime. A great anime that I recommend. And in first place we have Hunter x Hunter 2011. A hunter is one who travels the world doing all sorts of dangerous tasks, from capturing criminals to searching deep within uncharted lands for any lost treasures. Gon is a young boy whose father disappeared long ago being a hunter. He believes if he could also follow his father's footsteps, he could one day reunite with him. After becoming 12, Gon leaves his home and takes on the task of entering the hunter exam, notorious for its low success rate and high probability of death to become an official hunter. With Studio Madhouse behind the wheel, you can always bet your money on a great anime from them, and that's exactly what you get from Hunter x Hunter 2011. The only downside I can see from this anime is it appears to be very kid-like, and this might be a deciding factor for you guys. Well, I suggest you give it a few more episodes and give it a chance. The main protagonist is very well developed throughout, with pretty much perfect writing. The series doesn't put everything on a plate for the protagonist, and he seems to fail a lot, learning from his mistakes, and then he gets stronger and stronger. It's really believable and joyous to watch. The overworld fits with the characters perfectly, with each character design being intriguing to the eye. It's a shame many more anime have larger fan bases because they have nowhere near the amount of quality that Hunter x Hunter possesses, in my opinion. So that's my top 10 adventure anime list. I hope you enjoyed, and most importantly, I hope you found at least one anime that you think might suit your tastes. Thanks for all the support guys, and I'll see you next time.